that had him easily when he was just 6 months old. Well, he had escaped that home and was found wandering around Parkland, Florida. We'll be celebrating Buddy's 3rd birthday on the 4th of July. And he has been an absolutely wonderful addition to our family. Now, because Buddy was raised in captivity, he is imprinted to people. He doesn't rely on people for food and nice, clean, safe habitat. Here at Flamingo Gardens, we are an animal sanctuary, not a zoo. And the difference between the two is that we don't go out and look for the animals. They're actually brought here to us. They're actually brought here to us, which means they've either been imprinted to humans, injured or not, or injured and non-rehabilitatable. Over here on the driver's side, you'll find our flamboyance of flamingos. Those coral-colored flamingos that you see are our American flamingos. The pink ones are the pink ones are our greater flamingos. The flamingos are flamingos feed by stirring up mud with their feet, and then they reach down and scoop up a beak full of mud and water. Their beaks are designed to strain animals out of the mud, and the muddy water is expelled. And this happens as the flamingo's head is upside down. They're commonly found within a flamingo exhibit are what people think are baby flamingos. Now, that would be pretty cool. They're actually our American white ibis, also known as the hurricane birds. So they're called the hurricane birds because they're the last ones to leave before a hurricane, and the first ones to return when the hurricane is over. You may have also seen the white ibis. They are very common within parks and front yards. Mr. and Mrs. Ray were the original founders of the property. They came down from Indiana in the 1920s for a vacation, but they ended up falling in love with South Florida and decided to purchase their home in Hollywood, Florida. And over here on the passenger side, they had this home built in 1933, and this was used as their weekend home. They had many big events over the weekends and sometimes into the night. This home is now set up as a museum, so after the tour, absolutely feel free to take a walk through and learn a little bit more about the area. That home is made out of Dade County pine, which was resistant to termites and fire, and sadly that wood is no longer available. Now behind the home is a great big tree that Mr. Ray planted by seeds from India, and it's called the banyan tree. If you look up, you'll see what appears to be vines. Those vines are actually aerial roots. They'll make their way down and anchor into the ground and become another part of the tree. Now, if you're like me and you like a good photo op, if you actually go inside that tree, you find your way into the middle and you look up and you'll see those aerial roots coming down towards you. Now coming up over on the passenger side, you'll see a beautiful silvery bark with bright coral colored flowers. Now that is the desert rose, and the desert rose is a succulent, so it does pretty well in the heat, but during those rainy seasons it does tend to lose its flowers. Over here on the passenger side, at the end of this long line of trees, you'll see fallen over is an avocado tree. Now when Hurricane Irma came through here, she actually did knock down that tree as well as 151 other trees. When we got back to it, it had already taken root, and we decided to leave it there, which was a great choice as we do harvest avocados every season. Over on the driver's side, these great big trees here, roundish in shape, are the lychee trees. Now lychee trees are native to China. They have a red translucent outer skin, and on the inside they have a texture of a grape, which is very sweet. But I will warn you that when you take a bite into that fruit, you will find a great big seed that catches most people off guard. Over on the driver's side, you'll find our banana plantation. Now, bananas are plants. Most people will mistake them as trees, but they do not have bark. It's more of a tightly compressed banana leaf. On either side of the tram, you'll see hanging from this tree, those are our staghorn ferns. Now, the staghorn ferns are actually air plants and were donated to us 3 years ago. I'll be pointing out on the driver's side the jackfruit tree. The jackfruit tree is the tree that splits up into 2 trunks out there in the middle. That is the only tree I'll be talking about in this section. Now, if you look up and down that tree, you'll see football-shaped hanging fruits. Those would be the jackfruit. They are the largest tree-borne fruit in the world and can get up to 90 to 100 pounds. If you're a vegan or a vegetarian, or you know somebody who is, I highly suggest the jackfruit. If you cook it and add some barbecue sauce, it makes for a wonderful pulled pork substitute. Over on the passenger side is our Caribbean garden, where we have a couple more banana plants as well as the cousin to a banana plant, which would be the plantain. We also have a couple avocado trees, pomegranate tree, and a mango tree. Now, between that avocado tree and where I am now, you'll see the tree with brightly colored green leaves. That is our cacao tree. Now, the cacao tree is where you get chocolate from. As you pass by the tree, you'll see in between the branches the pods that carry the seeds. Now, over here on the passenger side, these brightly colored flowers. That's actually another cousin to the banana plant. It's called the lobster claw heliconia. They're also known as parrot flowers. Heliconias are found throughout the neotropics and are actually quite common in the rainforest. Speaking of rainforest, we are heading up into ours right now. Well, of course, it's not a real rainforest because we simply do not get enough rain here. We would need about twice the amount of rain here in Florida as we already get to even be considered a real rainforest. Now, when Hurricane Irma came through, and I can't blame it on her this time, it was actually that tornado she brought right alongside her, swept our entire canopy down, and that canopy was called our Monkey Highway. Now, the Monkey Highway was comprised of vines, big leaves, and branches all woven together. Now, an example of those leaves and vines would be right over here on the driver's side, next to this tree. Now, those leaves do get a lot bigger as they go up. Some of the animals that you'll see in a rainforest would be a white-tailed deer, fox, panthers, bobcats, and maybe even some snakes. Now, as we're exiting our rainforest, I'd like to say the largest rainforest would be the Amazon. And no, that is not the Amazon that delivers packages to your front door. The Amazon is actually slightly smaller than the continental United States. Alrighty, folks, we are heading up into our hardwood hammock. We've got an iguana in front of us, and we're trying to lead the way. Now, this is the part of the property that Mrs. Ray indicated in her will that she would like to see it remain untouched, just to give everybody a little sense of what South Florida would look like before all the cities and high-rises were built. Over on the driver's side, I would like to welcome you all to Flamingo Pond. Now, this is the area that our animal care specialists will release some of the animals back into the wild. And over in the middle of the water there, you'll see our mute swan named Troy. Now, mute swans do mate for life. Over here on the driver's side, sticking out of the water a little bit, that is our turtle rock.
Right here.
Although there aren't any turtles on it at the moment, you can typically see some yellow-bellied Florida sliders on there. Now, if you look at the water's edge, those lilies that you see are called bonnet lilies. They help clean and filter the water. under our pond apple trees at the moment. Now those pond apples are green in color, and they help aid in the digestion for our alligators and alligator snapping turtles. Alright folks, over on the driver's side, we are passing the Wetlands walkway. After the tour, please feel free to come out here, and as that walkway does give a great overlook of the pond. Maybe you can even see Troy up close. These trees to the driver's side are called bald cypress trees. They are called bald cypress because they are deciduous, which means they lose leaves in the winter and fall and grow back in the spring. And if you look down at the ground, you'll notice what are called the cypress knees. Each of the bald cypress trees can have up to 18 cypress knees each, and they're used as stabilization in the wetlands. It's also said that while flooding, they bring oxygen into those knees, and the tallest one you see is the highest the water has been out here. I'll remind everybody to keep their arms and legs inside the tram as we're passing our fan palms, which are very sharp. And now we are heading into our mango grove. So mangoes are known as the king of all fruit, as they are the most eaten fruit throughout the whole world. So there are about 500 different varieties of mangoes, although here at Flamingo Gardens we have 14, including one that tastes like vanilla. Mangoes are a great source of fiber and sugar. You should probably limit yourself to 1 or 2 a day, as too much fiber, too much sugar may just not be good for you. In India, instead of giving boxes of chocolates or bouquets of flowers to someone, they'll get a basket, fill it up with mangoes, and give it to that special someone as a sign of their love and devotion. Now, if you look out to the passenger side and you see those palm trees kind of roundish in shape, well, those are called staple palms, which are also known as the cabbage palms. We are now passing by our wildflower garden. Now that bright yellow flower you see with the brown seed in the middle, that is called a coreopsis, which is the state wildflower, and it's also known as tick seed. You'll see many butterflies out here, including our state butterfly, the zebra longwing. The zebra longwing has black wings with yellow stripes. It's his absolute favorite here in this wildflower garden. Now coming up on the passenger side, you'll see what I like to call a tree that looks like it came out of straight out of a Dr. Seuss book. And it's actually called the shaving brush tree. And it's called the shaving brush tree because the blossoms on the end of those branches resemble that of a shaving brush that men use to lather up before they shave. We are now entering our cycad garden. We got our cycads from all over the world. As you're walking through here, and even here on the tram, you'll see some of the credit card sized plaques next to each one, and that shows you where in the world we got them from. A little fun fact about cycads, and possibly my favorite, is that some of them are actually prehistoric, as they were around even before the dinosaurs. Sadly, cycads now are endangered, so we are doing our best to take care of them. As we're exiting our cycad garden and rounding this corner, I would like to welcome you all to Mount Flamingo. Now, Mount Flamingo is the second highest elevation in Broward County, as it sits 26.5 feet above sea level. All that gray stuff you see hanging down from the trees, that is called Spanish moss, and that's what the Native Americans used to stuff their pillows. And I know what you're thinking, what about bugs? No worries, they had a solution for that too. They would hold that moss above the fire and smoke all the bugs out, That way they can get a good night's sleep and not have to worry about any bug bites. Over here on the passenger side, about 15 feet away from the tram, you'll see our trees known as the rainbow eucalyptus. Now they do shed their bark, but when they do, that bark grows back in the same beautiful rainbow colors. If you look towards the front of the tram, out into the field, the two tallest trees that you'll see out there actually are rainbow eucalyptus. As you see, they do get pretty tall, but they do also still have that rainbow color. Onto the passenger side, these plants that you see that look like aloe vera actually aren't aloe vera at all. They're called agave, and they are what adults can use to make their evening time beverage known as tequila. Over here on the passenger side, you'll see a tree that looks like it's upside down, and that is called the baobab tree. It is from Zimbabwe. They store water in the trunks of their trees, and that helps give water to entire villages during the dry seasons. This tree next to it with the long wispy branches, that is called the calabash tree. Now the calabash tree is from Madagascar, and they do grow gourds. And those gourds can be used to make maracas. So if you get yourself a gourd from the calabash tree, fill it up with coins, marbles, beads, anything you can think of, you got yourself a maraca. Over here on the driver's side, these beautiful trees with big white flowers, what is known as the Milky Way trees. Now they're called the Milky Way trees because the flowers on those trees resemble the constellations found in the Milky Way. Over here on the passenger side, these trees that we're passing right now are known as the bottle brush trees. They're called the bottle brush trees because the flowers that they grow resemble that of the brush that you use to clean out a baby's bottle. Over onto the driver's side, you'll see our southern live oak trees. Now they're called live oak trees because they do house many other plants, such as orchids and cacti. Those cacti you see growing on the trees are what grows our dragon fruit. Alrighty everybody, as we enter the tram station, I would like to remind you all to keep your arms and legs inside the tram at all times. Please remain seated until we come to a full stop. My name is Rachel, and I'd like to thank you all for coming out with us today, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day here at Flamingo Garden.